Hi, this is Stephen Carroll, and I want to tell you about Bloomberg News Now. It's news when you want it on your schedule. These are short audio reports, 5 minutes or less, that bring you the latest headlines with context 24 hours a day. Get it on your smartphone with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast platform. And if you're still not sure, here's a sample of today's latest report from our team at Bloomberg News Now.
News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow. We begin with Volkswagen, which is taking unprecedented steps to make itself more competitive. The automaker's top labor leader said the German automaker is embarking on major cost cuts at its flagship VW brand. Bloomberg's Oliver Crook has more from Berlin.
We're talking about cost savings of about 4 billion euros. We're talking about blanket cuts of pay of workers at Volkswagen by 10% across the board. We're also talking about the closing of 3 factories. That is what they plan to do at the management level.
And that's Bloomberg's Oliver Crook, who reports the announcement kicks off a contentious week for Volkswagen. It's expected to post declining sales and profit when it reports third quarter earnings on Wednesday. Boeing launched a nearly $19 billion share sale, one of the largest ever by a public company. It's looking to address liquidity needs and stave off a potential credit rating downgrade to junk. The company offered to sell 90 million common shares and about $5 billion of depositary shares. The common share portion alone would total just under $14 billion based on Friday's closing price. That would be the largest share sale since SoftBank Group sold part of its stake in T-Mobile US in 2020, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. McDonald's said quarter pounders will return to menus at all restaurants this week following a multi-state E. coli outbreak that has sickened dozens and left one person dead. We get more with Bloomberg's Kriti Gupta.
They are ruling out beef patties for the E. coli outbreak. Remember, they are reporting earnings tomorrow, so it's certainly one we're going to keep an eye on in terms of the impact to their bottom line that this outbreak may be taking and what kind of guidance they can give.
Bloomberg's Kriti Gupta reports the E. coli has been linked to slivered onions served on top of the chain's quarter pounder cheeseburgers. That item is coming back to the menu at all McDonald's locations this week, minus the onions. Now to politics. And Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny expressed support for Vice President Kamala Harris after a speaker at Donald Trump's rally in New York called the U.S. territory a floating island of garbage. The remark about Puerto Rico by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe also drew a backlash from Republican lawmakers in Florida, including Senator Rick Scott. We get more with Bloomberg's Bill Ferries.
Interestingly enough, outside of Florida, which has the largest population of Puerto Ricans in the continental U.S., the second largest group is in Pennsylvania, so one of the key battleground states. So nobody knows at this point if that will make much of a difference in the election or not, but it's something that Harris supporters are talking a lot about overnight.
Bloomberg's Bill Ferries. Vice President Kamala Harris, meanwhile, took to X following the comments where she announced a plan to boost Puerto Rico's economy and power grid. Robinhood Markets is joining competitors and allowing retail traders to bet on election outcomes before next week's U.S. vote for president. Robinhood is rolling out contracts pegged to specific events, including whether a particular candidate will win an election. The firm said it will start offering a limited number of the event contracts tied to this year's presidential race, and buyers will have to attest that they meet a variety of requirements. Investigators from various federal agencies launched an interagency operation today at the troubled lockup in New York City where Sean Diddy Combs is being held. The law enforcement operation was said to be aimed at maintaining a safe environment. In a statement, the Bureau of Prisons said its operation in Brooklyn was pre-planned and that there is no active threat. NATO has confirmed that North Korean troops have been sent to help Russia in its almost 3-year war against Ukraine. It said some soldiers have already been deployed in Russia's Kursk border region, where Russia has been struggling to push back a Ukrainian incursion. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte told reporters the move represents a significant escalation in North Korea's involvement in the conflict and marks a dangerous expansion of Russia's war. Well, oil is sinking after Israel limited its retaliation to the missile barrage earlier this month to military sites in and around Tehran. We get more with Bloomberg's Ethan Bronner in Tel Aviv.
On the one hand, it was restrained. On the other hand, Israeli officials and analysts were saying that they got a lot of important air defense systems and chokeholds in their missile production and drone production facilities so that they have stripped Iran of a lot of its ability to fight if there were another attack.
And that's Bloomberg's Ethan Bronner, who says Iran's foreign ministry is saying it won't forego its right to respond to, quote, Israel's aggression. Checking NYMEX crude oil this morning, it is down 6.3%. Brent also down 6%. Futures are higher. S&P futures up 0.5%. Dow futures up 0.33%. NASDAQ futures up 0.7%. The 10-year Treasury yield 4.24%. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow, and this is Bloomberg.